Hi guys, this is Christine, your relationship and mindset master doctor, and your leverage for change. Today I'm going to be speaking about trauma and the many forms that it can take, and just kind of going over some of the behaviors that you may notice from someone who you may not know that experienced some kind of trauma, but these are the ways that the trauma kind of comes out in their behavior. And also just to notice, guys, because a lot of times there are individuals who experience some traumatic event, especially children, and they are not able to speak about it because they were threatened by the person who committed this thing to a child or children. Or this can even be with partners, your partner, as an adult it could be your spouse, because of the abuse of women or men, right? So there are different things. The one thing I would like to point out before I begin is that it's always good to have a baseline, because the baseline is going to tell you if this is normal behavior, right, or it's not. And of course, if a child or an adult was someone who was really outgoing and loving and caring and was, maybe the life of the party sometimes, and that can also be a trauma, by the way, guys. That can also be evidence of a person who's not happy because they sometimes will go overboard and be like the life of the party. You'll see that you may have heard of that in individuals who have actually committed suicide and done things to themselves to hurt themselves because they're trying to really rid themselves of this trauma that they're feeling. So it's good to, especially with children, as parents, and you have children, and if you notice that they have been, their whole behavior and their whole emotional and mental state changes, then you should really investigate further to see what could be causing it. And remember, guys, a lot of this happens to when the child or the adult is not able to say anything to anyone because they were threatened, or they were not they themselves, the person may have threatened their loved ones, right? So a lot of times people will keep quiet when they're threatened to keep their loved ones safe, or even themselves safe, right? So you have to just be able to be perceptive to see if this person, what were they like now, and what happens after something must have happened to them. All right. So one of the things that someone with trauma, and trauma can take so many forms, guys. It could be a death of a loved one. It could be a death of a parent, a child, a friend, or their partner, right? Depending on how the person died, the trauma can be very different. If the person died a natural cause, that it was a long, drawn-out thing that when they saw them suffering, that can be traumatic too, guys. Not because they didn't die a violent death, but also if the person died a violent death, then that can be trauma, and especially if the individual was a witness to that violent death or whatever it might have been, right? That can be really traumatic. So these are things that causes trauma. It could be the loss of a job and not knowing how to pay your bills. It could be somebody leaving you, your partner leaving you, without you thought everything was fine, and all of a sudden that can be traumatic. So there's so many things that can happen. It could be like in some countries they have to run from the certain people who are going to kill them and leave their own country to go somewhere else. Those things can be traumatic, guys, and there are so many different ones. I won't be able to mention all of them now. I just want you to know that trauma can take many forms, and that one of the things that really some of the things that people experience when they're experiencing trauma is certain recurring thoughts of what happened. They may keep seeing images of what happened. They may just the memories just keep flooding back. They may see it in dreams. They may feel it in body sensations, tightness in the chest, heart palpitations, so many different, but, just fear, flashbacks, a sense of reliving the event. These are how, these are some ways that an individual will experience it, trauma, re-experience that trauma. Now, there's also, guys, a marked change in their behavior as well. If somebody was outgoing, and as I was saying earlier, and all of a sudden now they're withdrawn, right? They hide away from everyone. They don't want to speak to anyone. They're very almost like mute. They don't have anything to say, and when they're talking, it's very monotone. No emotional. They answer only when it's necessary, or speak only when it's necessary. Then something is going on, and you should look further. They may not want to tell you, but you should investigate further, especially when it has to do with a child, right? Somebody who does not have that kind of autonomy. You should really find out what is going on, guys. You may sense a lot of anxiety. You may see that they have difficulty going to sleep, right? They may get irritable easy. They're easily irritated. Or they may find it difficult to concentrate. And there's also, sometimes they may have a high sense of vigilance, so hypervigilant about certain things, right? And, if they hear something drop, they will just, very startled. There are some people like that, that's easily startled, right? Just exaggerated startled response when something, it might be a gun, a fire, or what do you call those firecrackers, things that they do at in July 4th, and it could be that. And if it's not July 4th and it's not expected, and they hear that, they may just think it's something that's attacking them, because they may have experienced something that is similar to that caused the trauma, right? So the other thing that can be is changes in the mood and behavior. So they look very sad, ongoing sadness. They're always sad and looking very down and very depressed. There may be problems in regulating their behavior. Some people will injure themselves, almost like they're punishing themselves. What happens in that case is that a lot of them, it's almost like they go numb because of the trauma. And so, almost like to see if they're still alive, some people will injure themselves, cutting themselves, and all kind of different things that I'm sure that you've heard of, or someone who watching this may be experiencing that now, right? And so there's there also will be maybe some illness. They may get sick easily. They may keep tapping. They can't seem to keep quiet. They're tapping or shaking their legs. And that is something else. That can be something else as well. But if the person did not do that before, if this was not a regular habit of how this person behaved, the behavior was, then you know that something has changed and it should be investigated. The next thing could be they will also have a tendency to almost blame themselves, and so there's a lot of shame and guilt around this behavior. Maybe they were sexually abused, and they may believe that they have some part in it because they allowed it, right? And so there could be a lot of shame and guilt, right? And self-blame around that, even though it had nothing to do, it was not their fault, but the person made them believe it was their fault. And also they believe that if they allowed it to happen, it was somehow their fault, or if they participated in it, it was somehow their fault. But they're children and they don't recognize this, right? So they carry this around with them, and just carry it around with them. And this behavior and this thought process and these feelings dictate how they operate and show up in the world, which is not good. All right. They may have suicidal ideations, want to commit suicide, right? Because just to end it. There could be the opposite. Some individuals who are sexually abused may not want to have anything to do with sex when they get older, and in relationships may have difficulty responding to their partners. But some can be hypersexual, and so they will just go out and have sex with anybody at any time. They're just addicted to sex now, right? Which is another is a traumatic response, guys. So I want you to understand that a lot of times these individuals who are hypersexual, especially as children and growing up and getting into adulthood, you have to realize that there must have been something in their childhood that triggered that traumatic response. They could be hypersexual, or they could just not want to have anything to do with sex. So there are different responses to the trauma. All right. They're just, they don't have any boundaries. They will allow anything and everything to happen without, having that strength to say no, because they, as children, or, in their life, that when this happened, they felt kind of helpless in whatever situation happened that caused that trauma. For example, if it was someone who was in the army and they're going about doing their stuff and something blew up their friends right in front of them, they are going to almost want to blame themselves because it didn't happen to them. Why were they saved? They would ask themselves, and they would have been witness to this trauma of their friends or people that they know and have lived in very close quarters with, who are killed. And so those are traumas, guys. And these individuals come back home and they cannot respond in the same way that they did when they left to go before all of this trauma happened. Guys, I hope that this will kind of give you some ideas that not everyone you see out there acting out of there's certain responses that trauma brings on. And that you just have to be kind, guys. You don't know what people are going through. You don't know what people have experienced, because a lot of them they're not going to tell you. They're ashamed themselves of what happened to them, believing and blaming themselves for it as well. And so you have to be very kind and really just be, just be good human beings. And understand that there are other individuals out there who have had really bad experiences, and it is from those experiences that they're acting out sometimes. All right. So I hope, guys, that you've learned and have some ideas of what trauma looks like or can look like in children as well as adult relationships, right? And that you can now pay more attention, especially if you know from the person from past experience, and they were a totally different person from what they're showing up as now. You know that something happened, even if they do not want to or they cannot speak about it. So, guys, I hope that helps in some way, someone. And please like, share, and also subscribe to my channel so that as soon as I upload a new video, I do these videos to try and help people to really understand different things, right? And so that they're able to have the ability to cope with it, and at least to have the awareness of what it is and what it looks like. So I hope that you've learned something today. And in the meantime, guys, please like, share, and subscribe. And also, please just never ever stop growing, guys. And there's so much to learn to enhance your life. Always keep growing and always keep evolving into someone better every single day. The only person that you should compare yourself with today is the person that you were yesterday. So, guys, this is Christine, your relationship and mindset master doctor, and your leverage for change. Take care and have a great day. Bye-bye.